I can't even cleanse myself with this story because now we got to get into this Shangela story. I was like, ooh, just when I thought I was not going to be feeling icky anymore. Now we got to talk about this story. So shout out to Bob the Drag Queen and Monet Exchange because they finally, gave their overall thoughts on this whole Shangela SA story. So they finally addressed it and broke the silence regarding the SA allegations against former drag queen Shangela on the latest episode of their podcast, Sibling Rivalry. Now, it all started when on the latest episode titled The One About Diddy, Bob and Monet were discussing all the allegations surrounding disgraced music mogul Diddy when the queens began to pivot and weigh in on the allegations surrounding Shangela. Now, let's take a gander over to YouTube. And I want to play out this clip of the queens talking about their former drag race sister and them giving their overall thoughts about it. Please hold.
A lot of allegations coming out about a lot of people. I have never discussed this on the podcast before, but obviously there were allegations against one of my co-stars on We're Here. Mm-hmm. And I think that some people have taken my silence as some form of allyship, or someone even accused me of quote unquote working overtime to silence victims, which seems really wild to me personally, a really wild accusation. But the truth is that I'm not working overtime to silence anyone. I just literally did not know what was going on. I did not want to spread rumors, especially one that I was that close to, but I certainly stand with, the 6 people is incredibly damning. And I certainly hope that these people get the justice that they need. I can't even imagine what it's like to see a person who did something like that to you on TV, just like, getting their tens or dancing at the club next to you. You know what I mean?
Pablo Rain, Foxtrot, and box stepping on a ABC Dance with the Stars.
So that would fuck me up mentally. You know what I mean? But I just don't want anyone to think that was me being like, I support like that. But also, people jump to a lot of conclusions on the internet, which I understand for them, but it doesn't always make a ton of sense. But sometimes when we're feeling emotional, we don't always make the most sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what was really crazy was one recently, the person who was down at the Abbey, and they posted that video about something that happened on the set of Hurricane Bianca, and then Bianca commented on their video. She's like, "I'm so sorry that happened to you." I don't remember exactly what Bianca said, but she basically posted a message of support of the person on their post, because it allegedly happened on Bianca's set of her movie.
Yeah.
Not on the set of her movie, but during the filming of her movie, I should say. Sorry.
I just don't understand. Like, can I tell you all something that I feel like is really important to great sex and great sexual encounters is these 2 words together: an enthusiastic yes. An enthusiastic yes. If I'm looking at someone, I'm never going to try to convince anyone of anything. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're not enthusiastic about it, then maybe we're not. If I'm not enthusiastic about it, if you're not enthusiastic about it, then maybe we need to just take a break and do something else, or separate and not do anything at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. I think with like people in power, like obviously there's some through line of people in power, and like we're seeing a lot of like in sexual dynamics, this thing of like someone with power having more power. And I know there is things like dom and sub, and that's the thing that goes on, but both people are consenting to that type of sexual relationship and agreement. So that's one thing. But I think what we're seeing is people with power trying to exercise that dom thing over someone who is not consenting to be a sub in the way that they want them to, and they're like using coercion and drugs and thing to will them into what they want sexually, which is a problem.
Yeah, so I think they were pretty much done at that point, and that's why I wanted, because they were going to go into a transition to another conversation. But I do agree with a lot of the queens. I'm glad that they came out and they finally said what they said. And I'm glad that, you know what, Bob took the time to actually gain enough information before being so quick to jump on social media. And I think that a lot of times when it comes to people who are public figures, you can't just be someone who automatically just jumps online and gives their overall opinion. I stand with the victims and Chandler's trash. And it's like, because she's close to her. So she knows, certain situations. And I have friends who know Shangela, who have worked with Shangela and have had those same gripes that Bob has, meaning like, well, I've worked with this person a couple of times. They don't look like they would be capable of this sort of thing. And I don't know how I feel about this. Like, do I still want to, like, it's not always about the collaboration, but it's just sort of like taking a step back and wanting to take that moment of like, just let me hear all the facts. Let me know what's going on before I jump to a conclusion. And when you are close to the person, sometimes you do need to take a beat and look into some things before you come to an overall conclusion. And I'm liking the fact that Bob finally came and said, you know what, I stand with the victims, regardless of what the situation is. Now, if Shangela want to feel the kind of way, oh well, argue with your mammy or tell it to your priest, like figure it out in other ways. But I always will, as a person, will stand with the victims. So, I'm totally here with what Bob had to say on that story. And and then another thing I guess we should probably talk about is this whole thing about R-ing people, like sexually assaulting people. Like, to me, it's just like, yeah, we have seen this ongoing thing. I don't want to call it a trend because trend will be an ugly word for it, but this ongoing thing of people who just use and exude their power over people. And if that's a kink that y'all have or whatever, if you got a rape kink or whatever, like there's some people who are into that sexually. But the only difference is it's consenting adults agreeing to that situation. For you to pull the same thing that allegedly Diddy was doing and putting and drugging people and they're passed out and you're assaulting them and things of that nature, when you pull those type of stunts, then yeah, you should be called into question over the things have you done. But then I should also refresh your memory on the situation. Rolling Stone did an investigation released in March of this year. 5 people alleged that Pierce had S8 or attempted to assault them. All of the accusers said they were between the ages of 18 and 23 when the alleged assaults took place, describing a pattern of being too inebriated to consent to having sex when Pierce first approached them, following by continuing advances after saying no. That investigation followed a May of 2023 lawsuit from Daniel McGarrigle, a former assistant drag race and production assistant of HBO's We're Here, that was settled and dismissed in February of this year, as Deadline reported. Now, Rolling Stone article also detailed 5 additional sexual assault cases were published in March of 2024, but no further lawsuits have been brought forward. However, last month, we did talk about it on this show, that Dakota Payne took to his Instagram to reveal that he also was SA'd by Shangela. I did post a link to that. Well, I did post it on my page and it's kind of been blocked off or whatever. So it's like you can go over to Dakota's page if you haven't seen it and check it out. But I have a previous episode that I did. I think I did clip it. You can check my TikTok or you can even check my YouTube. I did put it as a segment. It's up there if you want to watch it and give your overall thoughts on that situation. But it's like, yeah, Dakota Payne recently came out and said something. And then also a friend of mine who recently just did an interview a couple of weeks ago. I ain't going to reveal who it is, but he just did an interview a couple of weeks ago with Masculine Jason, who was an adult content creator. And also he interviews other content creators who make adult films. He told me in private that he was also assaulted by Shangela. And he's an adult film star. And so that's the second one, because Dakota Payne is also someone who does adult films and was assaulted. So, but people, aren't going to believe people who perform sexual acts for a living, because y'all think, well, you make porn, so you should be grateful that somebody wants you or touches you or whatever. But just because I do sexual content for a living does not give you autonomy of my body. So you need to get permission, and I need to be into you. And people don't want to believe the thing because Shangela looked like she's about 5'2", but it's like I've known many a little people that got the strength of a god, or David. Of Goliath, I should say. I was trying to think of a biblical term. It's got the strength of Goliath, and you know, will take advantage of people in certain situations. It don't matter the size. People, you never know what people are capable of in certain situations. So people need to stop, you know, looking at people based off of a look, a size, sexual orientation, a gender, or whatever, and think that that people aren't capable. I don't trust nobody to a point where it's like, I look at everybody, you know, in the words of Randy Meeks, everybody's a suspect. Like, I look at everybody in that sort of way. So I was going to say kudos to, you know, Bob and Monet for expressing their opinion and for speaking out on this. And kudos to the many more that are, you know, speaking out about their experiences of being SA'd by Shangela. Because if you have a story, you should definitely come forward. But yeah, nobody's pressed charges. Probably a lot of drama. And, you know, like I said, kudos to y'all. If you want to see the full episode, definitely check it out on YouTube. I did link it on my page. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. Let me know in the comments down below.